Hey guys, Sandy here and welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with some Brutus Monroe products. I have the Farmhouse Florals paper collection. I have two different stencils. One is a Slimline stencil and one is a mixed media stencil. And of course I have some Velveteen Glazes in Beautiful Blush, Fresh Kale, and Happy Heather. Now I am going to be scrapbooking these two photos today. And if you guys have not seen many of my videos, you would not know, but I have a thing for Disney trash cans. I just think that they are awesomely themed. These are the trash cans that are in the Indiana Jones ride queue. So let's see what I can do. So I'm going to start out with my paper pad, and I am working on top of the mixed media mat. Now this mixed media mat is definitely well loved. As you can tell, I definitely love playing with the mixed media. So I'm taking this floral stencil and I am just spreading over some Velveteen Glaze with kind of a, I don't know the technical term for this palette knife, but I call it my glaze palette knife. I use it for any kind of glazes that is not glitter. And I just find that it's easy to spread. So I go ahead and pull that off and we're gonna let that dry. And Velveteen Glaze is a beautiful medium. I have said that it's like flock but hard, and I know that that's kind of hard to understand until you've actually used it. My friend Crystal of Pineapple Papers knew exactly what I was talking about after she got some of the Velveteen Glaze and realized that it feels like hard flock. It definitely has a little bit of a hard flocked texture, and it does dry matte. So now I am using the Slimline stencil with some of the green color, which the official name is eluding me right now, but I will have everything linked down below in the description. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that across. And as you can see, I do have some very bold Velveteen Glaze going on over top of this paper. It is definitely not something that is light and not really in your face. So on this other side, I decide that I'm going to try a little bit of a different look. And I'm not going to have my glaze completely covering the stencil and the non-stenciled areas. I decide that I'm just going to try to give it a little bit of a distressed look. And I like the way that that comes out. So I'm going to grab some more paper and I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat the process of putting the Velveteen Glaze through the stencil. Now at first I was like, okay, so I've got these dark versions and now I need to do some light versions. So I grabbed the Velveteen Glaze and I am finger painting, you guys. I am letting out my inner slob in the most fun way possible. And I am just going to run the Velveteen Glaze through the stencil. And it's going to give me a much different effect than what it does when I use the thick Velveteen Glaze with the palette knife. I'm just going to wipe my finger off and then peel my paper. And you can see there is a big difference. And I just loved it so much that I decided to keep going with my fingerprint and just finger paint the stencils away. Now, I did not clean my stencil in between this, so if the purple and the pink kind of meld together on top of my paper, I'm not really worried about that. All of the colors are in the paper, so it's not like a big concern that I'm going to put something on there that's going to clash, because the purple, the pinks, and all of that are, like I said, in the Farmhouse floral papers. So I'm going to do the same thing with that Slimline stencil and the green. I'm going to go ahead and use my finger to push that Velveteen Glaze through, and I just wanted to leave in the process for all the different stencils, the two different stencils and the varying degrees of Velveteen Glaze, just so that you could see the difference. So it definitely makes a difference from this version where I was finger painting with the Velveteen Glaze to the one over on the right that I used the palette knife and maybe a little bit of a thicker bit of the glaze. So I'm really loving this, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to put these off to the side to dry, and then they dried, so I decided to go ahead and fussy cut this big floral out of the paper pad. And I'm just kind of rough cutting around some of the edges. I decide not to leave in the kind of frondy, like palm frond, grassy type leaves that are sticking out, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut around the pieces that I'm going to leave in. And that's a trick for fussy cutting. You don't have to cut out every single teeny tiny detail when you're fussy cutting. You can just like cut those off. They don't even need to be there. So I just trim it out a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and figure out that I'm going to lay my floral over top of the white space in my Disney trash can photo. Now I am taking my Velveteen Glazed papers, and I'm just trimming them down. I think I trimmed them down to 2. I feel like I trimmed them down to 2 inches so that I would get 3 full bits. So I went ahead and did that, and then I went ahead and trimmed out some of the papers that I also did not put stenciling on, just because I want to be able to have some sort of break in the design. Now I have this khaki colored cardstock, and I also have a white sheet of cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and, well, I thought I was going to go ahead and mat my photos. I think I am. I'm going to go ahead and mat my photo. I'm not using my normal trimmer. It's because it's upstairs and it's not readily accessible because, you know, I'm too lazy to walk up the stairs to go get it. So I'm going to figure out where I want my photos to go and like which photo I want on the left and which photo I want on the right. At first I thought I was going to have the double trash can on the left, but I didn't like the way it looked with the floral, so I just maneuvered that around. Now I'm going to go ahead and build my background, and I'm kind of doing this by sight. I'm not really measuring anything. I'm going to take each of these 2-inch strips, and I'm going to just lay them on a diagonal here. And I'm working to make sure that I'm not getting the same colors right next to each other. I want to have a little bit of variety in my diagonal stripes. I want to make sure that you're going to be able to see the stenciled bits, and I want you to be able to see the ones that also don't have the stenciling on it, because I think even though this is a very busy background, it's a very busy layout, having those pieces of paper that don't have the Velveteen Glaze, really that's just giving your eye a break, because this is a lot to look at on this layout, you guys. Like I know it is. Just know it's a whole bunch. So I am alternating the sheets here, and I'm just gluing them down and not really worried about the overhang or the overlap. I do add a little bit more adhesive just to make sure that the papers are not going to fall off on me while I'm figuring out where they need to go. So I'm going to flip my layout over, and I'm going to trim all the edges off with my scissors. And I flip it over because I feel like that gives you a straighter cut, because you can use the back of your layout as your edge. If you had it faced up, you really wouldn't see the back of the layout as the edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And I do have lots of scraps, so I'm just going to put those off to the side. And then I decide that I am going to mat this creation on top of white cardstock. So I trimmed off a little bit on 2 sides. That way it'll be even, and I'm just going to mat it here on the white cardstock. My 2 photos are going to be placed on top, and I was just flipping it around to see which way it looked the best, like which way it just looked the best to me. And I think a lot of the times we get all worried about how we're going to do things and what design principle we need to follow, but just do whatever you think looks the best. So I do have my Brutus Monroe foam tape roll, and when I got this foam tape roll, it was probably double the size it is, and I've used about half of it. I figured it was time to use a little bit more. It just pops up the photos just ever so slightly, And that's just going to give these photos a little bit of lift off the back of this busy background. So there is, I'm covering up a lot of real estate of the photo with the florals, and there is a lot going on in the background. So I just needed to separate the photos from the background a little bit, and in this case I did that with just a little bit of pop-up from the foam tape roll. So I grabbed some stickers from my stash, and these are chipboard stickers, and I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put them, because I'm not going to do a whole bunch of embellishing on this layout, you guys. There is a lot going on in the background, so I definitely don't need to add a whole bunch of embellishing. So I am going to use this gold little bit that says love, and I'm also going to spell out Indiana Jones, because like I said, these are the trash cans from Indiana Jones. Now let me talk about trash cans for a little bit. Some of you might not understand what a Disney trash can is, and you're probably looking at this and going, yeah, that's not that great. But what you need to do yourself a Google search on Disney trash cans, or you need to check out my Disney trash can playlist on my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on the Brutus Monroe channel, my personal YouTube channel is Steak Goddess. I will have that linked down below just so you can check out the Disney trash cans. So I have a healthy obsession with Disney trash cans. I just think that they're super fun and they're themed, and I just like to document them. Documenting them makes me happy. So that's where the Indiana Jones comes from. These are the Indiana Jones trash cans. And they might not be as super cute as some of the other trash cans, but it definitely fits into the jungle theme of Indiana Jones, and I can definitely appreciate that. I throw a little doily up on the top just to give it a little bit of something, and then I'm going to go ahead and place the date in the same kind of font that I used down at the bottom, and then I realized that it wasn't 2019, it was actually 2018. So here it is, you guys, a couple of close-ups. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon for another video.